This is Basically Atheist, the podcast that embraces skepticism and promotes critical thinking. Skepticism. It's something that's really become very important to me. If you're listening to this show, you probably have a good understanding of what skepticism is, but not everyone does. Not all atheists are good skeptics either. It's not really a state of mind. It's not a position. It's more of a process, a thought process. Using critical thinking, scientific method to examine things, logical reasoning, looking at a claim and saying to yourself, does this make logical sense? Is there evidence to support this claim? You know, if somebody makes an extraordinary sounding claim to me, the skeptic in me doubts it pretty much right away. I don't just believe something because someone tells me they've witnessed it. And that right there, I don't like to think I'm special, or anything, but that right there sets me apart from most religious people. Come on, if you live in the South, or really, I think, probably anywhere in the United States, and you live around church people, you know what I'm talking about. They'll just, my God, have you seen these posts on Facebook where they'll see a freaking cloud that vaguely looks like an angel or something, and they just believe, adamantly, that it is a sign from God. God, there are starving people in some parts of the world. People are dying from famine and disease because they don't have a clean water source. But, the Almighty God, He had nothing better to do, but to send this football coach a sign from God, because he was having a sad day. I remember there was this one in particular that was really funny. It wasn't even a cloud. It was a freaking moth on the camera lens. It wasn't even a cloud. And half of the comments were people pointing this out, that it was a moth, and the other people were getting mad at the people pointing this out and saying, how can you say that? It's obviously a sign from God. Okay, sorry. I guess I got a little off track, but my point was that people who are religious, they're not very good skeptics. And skepticism is a process, like I mentioned. It's not a state of mind. It's not a position on any one thing. There are people who are theists who practice skepticism. In my opinion, they're not practicing it in one particular area, but I think skepticism is very important, and I think it needs to be practiced by a lot more people and a lot more vigorously. It's not practiced nearly enough. I will tell you this, if you start practicing it more in your own life, you're going to look like an asshole to people. That's just the way it is, but you just got to learn not to give a fuck what people think. Sorry, okay? We got to stop entertaining people's delusions. It's not good to believe in nonsense. It's not a good thing, okay? I've gotten to where this is just how I look at something, okay? This is how I look at things. So, the first thing that happens is somebody makes a silly claim, okay? Maybe it's unfair to call it silly from the get-go, okay? But whatever. This is hypothetical. But you know, and I know that these things happen. This happens every day. All right. Let's just make up an example here, okay? Let's say somebody you're acquainted with, okay? Maybe somebody you work with. You're having a conversation with them in the break room at work, and conversation goes like this. Oh, you're never going to believe what happened to me last night. So, I was sleeping real good, okay? I was having a crazy dream, all right? But then, all of a sudden, I woke up out of a dead sleep. I just had a chill go through my whole body. And out of a dead sleep, I jumped up. I heard a thud. My little hairs were sticking up all over my body. My skin broke out in goose flesh. And I looked to my right and I looked to my left. And then, at the foot of my bed, staring straight at me, was a ghostly figure of my dead daddy. Gone these last 4 years. And he was just looking at me. And you're sitting there, right? I mean, what do you even say to something like this, okay? I mean, I know some of y'all have had to have heard some stuff like this. I mean, maybe this isn't an everyday thing, but you have heard some stories like this. Now look, not all atheists are good skeptics, like I've said. I know there are atheists that believe in spiritual mumbo-jumbo. There are atheists that believe in ghosts. Alright, and I hate to tell you, okay, as an atheist that doesn't believe in any supernatural stuff, because, yeah, I'm going to assert this right now, okay? There is no evidence in any supernatural mumbo-jumbo, okay? That no ghostly interaction has ever produced any tangible, measurable evidence, okay? There isn't any. Sorry, I'm not saying that it for sure doesn't exist. We don't have evidence to disprove its existence, okay? But there is not currently any actual evidence of its existence either. Okay, and the time to believe in a thing is when we have evidence for its existence, okay, and not before that. Okay, there is just no good reason to believe in ghosts currently, okay? And I mean, there are people who just die hard. Well, I've seen it. I've seen the other realm. I know it's real. No, you don't, okay? You know, maybe you had a dream. Maybe you had a hallucination, okay? Okay, there will be people who will be all like, well, you just haven't experienced anything yet. That's why you don't believe. Okay, no. If I did experience something, okay, first thing I'd want to do is go see a psychiatrist, okay? I'd want to get my head examined. I'd want to make sure I wasn't losing it upstairs first, okay? And even if I was ruled to be completely sane, that still doesn't mean I'm seeing ghosts, okay? I mean, that's almost like the God of the gaps. Just because I can't explain what I saw doesn't mean it was ghosts. Okay? I mean, really. It's so silly. I mean, oh, I can't explain what I saw, so that definitely means it was freaking ghosts. Let's just jump to the craziest solution it could possibly be. I mean, what it is people who just want to believe in this shit. People want to believe there's ghosts. People want to believe there's spirits. So they look for any possible way it could be true. And then they're like, oh yeah, it's definitely this. This is definitely how, this is definitely how it is. I've seen it. How someone who is an atheist could believe this stuff? I'll tell you what it is. It's evidence of how not all atheists are freaking skeptics is what it is. This is why skepticism is important for everyone, okay? That's why this podcast episode is promoting the importance of skepticism, okay? If you're listening and you're not a skeptic, regardless of whether you're an atheist or not, please look up skepticism. Please look up how to practice good skepticism, and please start applying it in your day-to-day life. Please take your personal beliefs and put them through the ringer that is skepticism. Okay? Do it honestly. I mean, I question my own beliefs all the time. I'm constantly questioning myself. Is this opinion that I hold, will it hold up when I apply logical reasoning to it? Does it hold up, when I apply good thinking to it? Is there evidence of it? Is my opinion a valid one, or am I just being emotional? It's important that we do these things. It's important, and most people just don't do it. It's infuriating. I think that was a long digression. Okay, back to the task at hand. So back to the co-worker's break room ghost story. So you're sitting here thinking, how the hell does this person believe they really saw this? I mean, they just said they were in a deep sleep. I mean, you're probably thinking they probably freaking dreamed this, right? I mean, really, they were probably dreaming it. I mean, I've had pretty vivid dreams before. Who knows what really happened, but they definitely didn't see a damn ghost, okay? And you just don't know what to say. You don't know how to refute what they're saying. I mean, there's really no point in even arguing with them. When you encounter somebody who entertains magical thinking, doesn't just entertain it, they full on, flat out believe the shit, okay? Trying to explain evidence and logic and reasoning to them is almost pointless. All you can really do is say, I don't know. I was going to say all you can really do is point out that you're skeptical and that you would need more evidence personally. But when you're actually having a face-to-face conversation with these people, I don't know. It's really hard to explain to somebody that you can't believe what they believe. They'd probably get angry with you. I mean, you would probably just have to explain to them that I would really need a little more evidence. In a real life scenario like that, I would just change the subject. Somebody who really truly believes they saw that, you're probably not going to sway them. It still might be worth having that conversation for other people who may be listening. Maybe young people who still don't understand logic and reasoning, who might still be making up their mind about whether they believe in that sort of thing or not. To see someone actually stand up and say, well, and actually refute it at least a little bit, it might help save them a little bit. I don't know. It might be worth saying that for their sake. But that person most likely is gone. Although I will say, there was a time in my life when I thought that stuff could be real. Although I was always a little bit of a skeptic. There were always things that didn't make sense to me. Yeah, there were times when I thought demons were real because that's what I'd been taught in the church. I thought a demon could inhabit you. I thought if you played with a Ouija board, you could get possessed by a demon. I thought it was a portal. I mean, now looking back, I am just laugh at myself and how stupid people can be. I mean, really, it is so silly what people believe. It's ridiculous. I mean, and what people still believe. But I remember there were always things about religion that just didn't compute. When even as a child, I can remember there was a very small town just a few miles from my hometown in southwest Arkansas. There's one small Baptist church there. I used to go to vacation Bible school at this church. I remember I was probably 5. I just barely remember this. And I remember asking the family friend who took me to this vacation Bible school. No one ever put me up to asking this. You would think so, but I actually came up with this question myself, and I just remember thinking, how in the world was God just always there? He was just always there. I couldn't wrap my mind around that. And I remember asking my family friend, how was God just always there? He made everything, but how is he just always there? Who made him? And she was just surprisingly not horrified that I asked the question, which is what you often hear, that you can't ask these questions. She was just kind of like, I don't know, this question had never occurred to her, obviously. She was like, I don't know. And the Sunday school teacher, she just had a cop-out answer, totally ready. She was just like, well, he was just always there. I know it's hard for us to wrap our minds around it. God is so much greater than we are. We're just human beings, and we just can't understand such a great mind as God's. But he was just always there. Nobody created him. And I do remember distinctly just not being satisfied with that answer. It didn't compute. And there wasn't a whole lot of stuff like that from that age. But that's one thing that distinctly stands out in my memory, is just being completely unsatisfactory. That didn't make sense about the religion. Another thing that I thought about a lot as an older child and then as a teenager and a young adult that never made sense to me was homosexuality, which of course is greatly accepted now. There are still people, and there are probably always going to be people who say that it is a sin and who do not accept homosexuals. But it is a vastly different world now than it was 20, 30, 40 years ago. Now, I graduated high school in 2007, and when I was in high school, it was still not okay, at least not in my school, in my part of the state, in my part of the country, to be openly gay. It was not. It was still a very popular thing, at least in my school. I cannot speak for other schools. It just wasn't. It wasn't. Just a few years later, it was a lot more accepted. It was the last few years, I think, of the big hurrah of it being cool to be a bigot towards homosexuals, was when I was in high school. Calling people derogatory names for homosexuality was hilarious. Comedians on stage were constantly calling people the F word, that is meant to be a derogatory word for homosexual people. It was constant. Students would say it in class right in front of teachers. Teachers didn't care. I don't ever remember a teacher getting onto a student for saying that word. Not in my hearing anyways. It was just seen as not a big deal. No one cared. Now it's something that's just not acceptable anymore. And I think it's a very good thing. But when I was a small child, I didn't even know what it was. I didn't know about it. People didn't talk about it. And then when I got to be an older child, people were a lot more aware of it. I was anyway. I don't know if that's just because as an older child, 10, 11, 12 maybe, more of my peers were coming into puberty and people just started to be aware of more things like that. I don't know what it was. I'm not smart enough to know, I suppose. Or I haven't learned about it enough. I don't know. Haven't done enough reading on the subject. But I remember knowing that it was a sin. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I spent about 8 years of my childhood, from ages 6 to 14, living with my paternal grandparents. My paternal grandfather, who was actually my step-grandfather, he did not go to church, but my paternal grandmother did go to church. She went to a Baptist church, And she was what I like to call a show Christian. Someone who is actually not that pious. Somebody who goes to church for more of a social aspect to make sure she is seen there and is seen to be a good Christian, while not in fact being that good of a Christian. I'm not saying she was necessarily a bad person. It was more important to her to be seen as being a good Christian than to actually be a good Christian and to espouse, quote unquote, good Christian morals, if you understand what I'm saying. And that church, I do not actually remember talking about homosexuality at that church. Of course, the church was extremely boring, and I don't remember a lot of the teachings of that church at all, because when we were sitting in the sanctuary listening to sermons, I was usually doodling in a notebook or something, just trying not to fall asleep because it was so horribly boring. So most of the religious teaching that I remember was after, when I was 14, I went back to live with my mother. And off and on, after I went to live with her, we would go to the local Assembly of God church, which was a lot more evangelical, a lot more basically a Pentecostal type church. And they did preach against homosexuality. It was kind of a, you are welcome here if you are homosexual. We do not, encourage that lifestyle, but you are welcome to come to church here and we will pray for you and we will help you change. You know what I mean? They didn't encourage you to actually openly live a homosexual lifestyle. But if you were gay, they wanted you to come so they could, help you change. But it was definitely taught that it was a sin. I specifically remember they also taught at that church that no sin can enter heaven. And I just remember thinking that it didn't make sense. Why are gay people gay? I don't remember being taught specifically by either church that being gay was a choice or that it wasn't. But I know I'd heard, at some point, probably from adult conversations that I'd overheard somewhere, that it was a choice. I don't remember specifically believing that myself at any time. I might have when I was a small child, but by the time I started adolescence, I didn't believe that because it didn't make sense to me. How there are adult people out there, religious or not, who actually believe that somebody would just force themselves to be a homosexual, that someone even could do that. I mean, it's just astonishing to me that somebody could be that stupid. Why in the world would somebody force themselves to be a homosexual? How could someone even do that? How? I mean, it just boggles the mind. I mean, really, without even bringing science into it. I mean, really, you don't even need to bring science into it for this point. Why in the world would somebody choose to be gay back then when it was not socially acceptable? When your parents would turn on you, when your family, your community would turn on you. Back 30, 40, 50, longer ago than that. That many years ago when it was dangerous to be gay. When you could get beaten to death for being gay. Not to mention forcing yourself to physically be with someone of the same sex when you weren't attracted to them. I mean, how could you even do it? I mean, what are these people smoking? Seriously. But this is what us skeptics are up against. This kind of thinking, this kind of logic. This is what we are up against. It would be funny if it weren't so true. And the final thing that I remember, the final thing I am going to mention today, I mean, there were many, many small things that didn't make sense. But the last thing I'm going to mention today that I remember being skeptical about as a child, even while still being involved in religion, is prayer. The power of prayer. Prayer warriors. This is something that never quite clicked. I understood how it was supposed to work, but I almost felt like there was always just a little piece missing or something. Everyone else seemed to just get it. They just understood. It just undoubtedly worked for them. They didn't question it. It just worked. And it just never made any damn sense to me. So, you need something or you want something. Let's say you are sick with a very bad illness. You pray for God to heal you, and it either works or it does not work. And either way, it was all part of God's plan. And you're supposed to praise Him regardless of the outcome. Sounds legit. This is insane! What the hell? I mean, good grief. Oh, and sometimes it's just sad. You know, it can be so sad. I remember a few years back, an acquaintance of my family actually used to be married to my first cousin. He has a daughter who was very sick with a terminal illness. This little girl's been fighting this illness for a few years. She did eventually pass away. But this was a couple of years before she actually passed away. She came very close to passing away this time. And she had large groups of people, prayer warriors, praying for her. And, it's a very sad situation. And my mother, has actually met the little girl before. It's very, she was tore up about it. It's sad, And my sister and I am quite lucky to have a younger sister who is also an atheist. My younger sister and I were over at my mother's house, and my mother saw a post about all of this on Facebook, and my mother, got teary-eyed and asked us, could you girls please, she said, let's pray right now for her so she will be okay. And me and my sister looked at each other, and we both knew we weren't going to do it. We don't believe in prayer. We have both told my mother before that we don't believe in prayer. My mother is always asking me to pray for things for her when she knows I don't believe in prayer. It's really kind of aggravating and insulting, really. And we looked at her, and my sister, she goes, Mom, we're not going to pray. And my mother just gets pissed off, like right away. You're not going to pray? You're not going to pray with me for this little girl? And I can see how, to someone who's not an atheist, to someone who's religious, we would really look like bitches. Okay? Really, we don't want to pray for this terminally ill little girl who could be dying, and we don't want to pray for her. Yeah, we're really gonna look like a couple of assholes here. Okay? I get it. But, and I was like, Mom, I don't believe that prayer works. I don't believe it does anything. Would it even mean anything if we prayed when we don't believe in it? Do you believe it would even work if we don't believe in it? I was like, look, I'll sit here quietly with you if you want to pray, but, I don't believe it would do anything. So I was like, that's very sad. I hope she's okay, but, it's a sticky situation. It's tough, and, it can cause hurt when people believe that prayer will work, and it doesn't. It can be so hurtful. And I'll tell you another story. My husband I don't think he'll mind me telling you guys this story. My husband's a lot more pessimistic than I am. Hell, I'm practically got sunshine coming out of my ass compared to him. Okay? He grew up in a household that was even, a lot more religious than mine was. And, he used to go to, like, Bible Bowl and shit like that. He grew up going to a Pentecostal church that was not like a fun one like Assembly of God. I went to Assembly of God, which was kind of fun compared to the one he went to. His was not a fun one, okay? And he grew up with a very abusive stepmother who was like a mean Christian, okay? She wasn't a fun Christian. She wasn't a show Christian. She was an abusive, totally hypocritical Christian. It was not a good childhood or a good home growing up. But church was a very big part of their lives. They went every Sunday morning, every Sunday evening, every Wednesday. She cleaned the church, or she made her stepsons clean the church and she kept the money. They were there all the time, in other words. And one of her nephews was a perfectly normal little boy. And I am actually not sure what age he was, but he was a young child, not an adolescent, but a young child. And he was hit by a car, and it made him completely disabled after that. He was in a wheelchair and I believe had to, be fed through a tube and all sorts of things like that. He had to have surgery after surgery after surgery to try to just live as normal a life as possible after that. He couldn't walk anymore. I don't think he could eat normally after that, and just had all kinds of just horrible health problems after being hit by that car. And he was having some kind of major surgery, and the surgery was not going well, and everyone was praying. And my husband was a young boy, I think probably around age 11 or 12, pretty young. And he went into the little chapel in the hospital to pray for his cousin's life. And he went in there and he prayed. He said for a good while, probably like 30 minutes, he was praying and praying and praying. And he returned to the waiting area where the family was. And his stepmom said, "Where were you?" He said, "I was praying for his life. I want him to be okay." And his stepmother told him, "Well, I guess you should have prayed harder because he just died." Now I realize that prayer was not necessarily the bad thing in that story. She was. She let him, a child, think that he didn't pray hard enough and that is what allowed his cousin to die. But even without her saying that, I think that a young child could possibly draw a conclusion like that on their own. If you are brought up to believe that if you pray for something hard enough, it could just happen magically. People are told this growing up. Magical thinking is not good. It's not great. It's for children, okay? Maybe a belief in Santa Claus, has a place maybe for really young children. My daughter is 6 and we do this Santa Claus thing. But I imagine, in another year or two, she probably won't believe in Santa anymore. And I will probably discourage magical thinking after that. Really. I've already kind of started doing the Neil deGrasse Tyson method more about it anyway. Well, I've heard Santa Claus does this, or I've heard he does that, instead of saying, oh, he definitely does this and that, when she figures it out, it's going to be a moment of triumph. I'm not going to be sad about it. I'm going to be happy that she was smart enough to figure it out. People should be discouraged from thinking magically, not encouraged. And that's all prayer is. It's magical thinking. And I'm just going to say this. Those of you out there who, perhaps you are atheist or some other kind of non-believer, and you are not religious, but you're spiritual or whatever, and you still pray, or you put good vibes or good thoughts out there or whatever. That's pretty much just the same thing. Okay? It doesn't do anything. I understand that it makes you feel better, and for the most part I understand it's harmless. Okay, but like I said earlier, there is no good reason to believe it because there isn't any evidence to support it, that it's a real thing or that it does anything. The time to believe in a thing is when we have evidence for its existence and not before. Okay? And if we're going to all be good skeptics, we need to start applying it to our own beliefs. Okay? Now, I understand that, it probably is harmless. Okay? And it's certainly better than fundamental Christianity. Okay? But that's something that you need to think about. Alright? And on that note, I'm going to say one more thing about that. When I very first left religion, and I started saying, okay, I can't tell people that I'm going to pray for them anymore because I'm not a Christian anymore, and it really irks me now, and I'm not going to say that. And I actually really fucking hate it, okay? I can't even say anything about feeling sick on Facebook because all I'll get is like 20 people telling me, oh, prayers going up, oh, I'm praying for you. Oh, shut the fuck up. God, bring me some soup or something if you really want to do something. If you're not going to actually do anything to help, just shut the fuck up. I mean, seriously, some atheists don't care. Good for you if it doesn't bug you, but it bugs the shit out of me. I fucking hate that shit. Okay? Don't send me your prayers. Don't send me your vibes. Okay? Just, if you aren't going to do anything to actually help, just don't say anything. Okay? Because all you're doing is patting yourself on the back for saying something. Okay? I seriously doubt most of those people even pray. I bet they don't even stop to pray. Or if they do, they're literally doing it for like 2 or 3 seconds just so they can make themselves feel better about quote unquote doing something when they're literally doing nothing. Doesn't do anything for the person you're praying for. Literally does nothing for them. So just shut up. Oh wow, that was a little ranty. Sorry, on this podcast sometimes I rant. If you don't like that, sorry, it's not the podcast for you. Okay, so the point I was going to make is if you are no longer a Christian and you've decided you're not going to tell people, on Facebook or whatever that you're going to pray for them, so you instead go, oh, sending good vibes your way. Okay, that is like literally the same thing. You're just doing the same thing. You're just making yourself feel better. That literally does nothing. Just like saying sending prayers your way. I mean, you've literally just changed the word. That's all you're still doing the exact same thing. You're patting yourself on the back while literally doing nothing for your friend. If you want to do something, why don't you say, hey, what do you need? What can I do for you? And if you're not actually willing to do something, just shut up. Okay? Just don't do anything. If you feel like you have to say something, say, oh, I'm sorry you feel bad. Hope you get to feeling better. If you have to say something like that. If you don't care, just don't comment. Okay? I mean, seriously. I say that as somebody who did that for a while, like maybe a few months, until it dawned on me, I'm literally just doing the same thing that those Christians do. Don't be that person, okay? You're not doing anything different. Except you're probably a little worse, actually, because you think you're better than the Christian when you're not. Okay, so back to talking about the power of prayer. Okay, so people who believe in prayer, they legit think it works, okay? I know it works. I've prayed for somebody before and they got better, so I know it works. I know it. I just know it. I know it works. I believe it in my heart. Oh, honey, I'm sure you do. I'm sure you believe it does. Okay, prayer warriors. My poor little baby girl's got a fever of 99. I need y'all all out in force, praying for her so she feels better. Screw those starving kids in Africa. Come on. Forget about those earthquakes in Italy. I need help finding my car keys. It doesn't matter how many things are going wrong in the world. God always has time for you. Nothing in your life is too small for God to listen to. All I wanted on my lunch break was a slice of chocolate cake, but the cafe across from the courthouse always sells out of it by the time I get there. But before I left my workplace today, I just prayed to God that there be at least one slice left for me. And by the time I got there was exactly one slice left. You can't tell me that miracles don't happen. This is what we're up against. And people who are into this kind of magical thinking do not appreciate it when you bring your skepticism all up into the conversation. No, they're having way too much fun believing in magical flying unicorns and shit. And oh my God, their anecdotes. My anecdote! We don't give a damn about your anecdotes, Becky. But I saw it. I felt it. I know in my heart that it's real. I felt it in my heart, and you could feel it too if you just open yourself up to the Lord. I'm sure you did feel it. I'm sure you did. The truth is, there is no evidence that prayer does a damn thing. There have been multiple studies on prayer. One 2006 study on intercessory prayer found that there's no evidence that it has any positive effects. And there was even evidence that suggested people who were told they were being prayed for actually had worse effects. It looks like it might have been some kind of performance anxiety or something. And there have been multiple studies done, and not a single study that I could find has shown any positive effects at all. I mean, it looks like for the most part, prayer has the exact same effect as random chance. Imagine that. So the next time you are locked in conversation with somebody telling you about how they prayed for something and it really happened, I mean, you have to decide the best course of action for yourself. But just keep in mind that whatever anecdote they are giving you, okay, it's bullshit. It doesn't prove anything. They have done actual studies on this. They've actually gathered the data. There is no evidence that prayer does jack shit. I mean, you can change the conversation if you don't feel like confronting them, or you can just full out, dead ass, be like, fuck your anecdote. Show me the evidence. I mean, that'd be a little harsh for me personally, but it's up to you. In my opinion, an atheist living as a skeptic, it's a good idea. It's a good way to try to live your life. It's putting the scientific method and logical thinking to work for you in your day-to-day life. That's what I'm trying to do anyway. Am I perfect? Am I some, great skeptic? Hell no, but I am trying, and I'm learning, slowly but surely. Learn with me. Thank you so much for listening to the second episode of Basically Atheist. I really appreciate it, especially if you listened all the way to the end like this. The plan is to have a bi-monthly episode, hopefully a new one every other Friday. Right now, I will be publishing on my Podbean site and also on YouTube. Hopefully we'll have it on more platforms soon. Please follow Basically Atheist on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter if you haven't already for updates. Thank you so much, and tune in next time.